And hello out there, Caniac Nation. Thanks for joining us for session 68 of CaniacSessions. I'm Griff.
And I'm AB.
And we got Brandyn coming in to join us here in just a little bit. I think he's finishing his dinner. But yeah, thanks for joining us tonight. We've been trying to put this together now for a while. Some scheduling issues, to say the least. Sick kids, all kinds of sick AB.
Yep,
all kinds of issues trying to get this thing planned. But other than the stuffed up nose there, AB, how you doing, buddy?
Good. I've got to worry about the 2 ears infected as well, but you know what? That's fine.
Yeah, all right.
I'm doing good. Yesterday was terrible, to say the least, because I've been sick and I had to watch us be embarrassed by Buffalo, and NC State blew a 15-point lead and lost by 3 points.
Yeah, it's been a rough go here lately, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been pretty fun. Just great.
Well, we're going to get going here, but before we do, first things first, CaniacSessions is promotional partners with SeatGeek. First-time ticket purchasers can log on to SeatGeek, create an account at SeatGeek.com. Use promo code CaniacSessions. That's one word, no space between Caniac and Sessions. You can get $20 off your first ticket purchase, whether it's hockey, whether it's a concert, whatever, any sporting event. Take advantage of that. It helps you, it helps us, and it helps SeatGeek. Like I said, Brandyn will be joining us here momentarily, just waiting for him to pop in. But first thing I want to talk about, AB, is it was a pretty cool weekend around the Lenovo Center.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did the team earn 5 of 6 points between Thursday and Sunday, unfortunately we had the overtime loss to Anaheim Sunday, but what a day Sunday was outside of the game.
Mm-hmm.
The Eric Staal jersey retirement ceremony. I got there early. I know you did too. Got in there, got seated, and I just thought the organization did a great job with this. I mean, I thought everything from the way they brought out the alumni and all his teammates from that 06 Cup run, a couple others, from other years sprinkled out through, Derek Stepan was there, which was pretty cool.
Canes legend.
Yeah, but apparently he's Eric Staal's neighbor in Minnesota. I didn't know that. So I think I don't remember who told me that or where I heard it, but that's why he was here to support Eric. I guess they've become friends up there, obviously being neighbors. But I just thought everything was great from the ceremony to the players that were there to the speech to the, it was just all, first class, outstanding. What were your initial takeaways from that?
Man, I remember going early, first of all, to get the bobblehead. It was only like 6,500 of them. By the way, when I opened it, it was already broken. So,
you serious?
Dead serious. It's literally sitting over there. It's just him holding his hands like this, like a field
goal.
No
Stanley Cup.
No, the Stanley Cup's like down there. I gotta super glue it. But lines were wrapped around the building to just get in and watch the ceremony. And there were times where it was kind of like a tearjerker a little bit, just kind of knowing a player like that you've watched and seen, and to get the recognition that he deserves and to have his jersey be retired was pretty cool. And not a lot of people have gotten a chance to see a jersey be retired. It was my first time. So that was pretty special. And the whole weekend was special. They had the alumni game and everything. Just disappointing we couldn't win.
Yeah. The game was obviously something different, Unfortunately, they couldn't get the win, but I mean, got a point out of it. Really could have won it in overtime. We won't go into the game too much yet, but should have come if we would have won in overtime. It would have just been overall success. We forget about the way they played throughout the game, and it just would have been great. But they didn't, from a hockey standpoint, whatever. At least we got a point, especially based on the way we played that game.
Mm-hmm.
But
I was getting so frustrated.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm guilty as charged. I left early because it was the second period, and that was probably one of the worst games I've seen since the Wild game, I think it was.
Yeah, I was there for that one too.
So
yeah, well, I stayed. Just because, I don't usually ever leave early, but maybe I'll leave like with 3 minutes to go if we're down. There's no way. But I've seen the Canes come back too many times in that building to get up and walk out. But I just thought, Eric Staal having the number up there, well deserved. And just to reflect a little bit on him and what he means to the organization, and this has been said over and over and over, the last couple of weeks, but he was the first homegrown Carolina Hurricane, drafted here, not in Hartford, drafted here to Raleigh, came in and immediately made an impact, 100-point scorer in the cup year, 2005, 2006, kind of really, that really helped push that team across the finish line. And man, what a roster that was looking back, just go down. What a roster. And they were really the underdogs, hindsight's 2020 I don't really think they were underdogs, but at the time they were, just the story, man, the rookie goaltender, the veterans on the team that were kind of making their last push. And then, then you had Eric Staal here, and he was kind of the young stud or the young gun or whatever you want to call it, that kind of pushed him across the finish line and brought the first Stanley Cup to Raleigh.
Mm-hmm.
And then just went on to have a great career, represent the organization well. Was on the cover of NHL. What was it? 2008.
I think
so. I think you're right. The cover of the game. All-Star year in, year out, was the All-Star MVP here in Raleigh. So, I mean, just
gold medalist.
Yeah, gold medalist, Team Canada. And then, just what a career. And the fact that he spent the majority of it here, and just the fact that he's a Staal, you can't tell the Carolina Hurricanes story without the last name Staal in many capacities. So, yeah, it was just, I just wanted to reflect on that a little bit. It was such a great weekend. I enjoyed the ceremony. I brought my daughter with me, and she got to see it, and she probably doesn't appreciate it as much as I did right now, but someday, I want her to be able to look back and remember that. And, when she will be able to understand it a little bit more.
It makes you kind of feel old, just like seeing that jersey go up and having like all of these memories of watching him like in the dark ages. Yeah. Even though if he was on a playoff contending team, like he would be even more highly remembered in around the NHL. So yeah, but just still, like, just to see that and just have those memories come back, and knowing that the younger generation didn't see it, but it's kind of like one of those things where you need to pull up YouTube and watch how good this guy was.
Absolutely. All right. Well, it looks like we got Brandyn joining us.
Sorry for the tardiness, but the steak I just ate was really good. I like you guys, but I also like steak. And there were potatoes too. I was happy, and mushrooms.
I don't blame you, man. I'd choose a steak over y'all too.
Yeah, so would that guy that's laying over there. You will get a piece, I promise. Oh, dude, like I just want to talk about one thing real quick. Right before we went on vacation, I was going around doing some stuff, and he was riding in the back seat of the truck. And I got hungry, and I stopped at Bojangles, and I went in and I had a Cajun filet biscuit and came right back out. If looks could kill, that dog was so mad at me because he knew what I just had. And he just he was not pleased with me at all.
Oh man, I hear you. Well, I would ask you how you're doing, man, but it sounds like you're doing pretty darn good.
Yes, I am. I hope you guys are doing good too.
Absolutely. It's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. We're talking hockey. My birthday weekend, no big deal. Yeah.
Oh, it is? Oh, awesome.
It is. Yeah. So be at the game tomorrow night in at the Lenovo Center against the Golden Knights.
I
to
cannot.
kick off the weekend. What?
My ears will shatter if I go into that building.
Hey, sacrifices, AB.
I wouldn't be able to do a podcast anymore. I wouldn't be able to
you
hear
would. You will get one of those sign language people to do things for you. You know, it's like when you're watching a press conference during like a natural disaster or something.
Yeah, that's true.
So Brandon, we were talking Eric Staal, and we're just talking about the weekend and the ceremony, and I assume you got a chance to watch the ceremony.
Yes.
Just your thoughts. AB and I shared our thoughts and kind of talked about who Eric Staal was to this organization and how he kind of, is really one of the biggest, I guess, what's the word? Pioneers, maybe, to hockey in North Carolina.
Yes.
And so just your thoughts.
Yeah, Eric Staal definitely is. He's one of those guys that was one of the first really popular players that we had, where you would see a bunch of people have his sweater, wearing his number. It's like there wasn't a ton of youth hockey yet in North Carolina back then. And I remember that a couple of like the camps I went to when I was a kid, even though I never played travel or anything, a lot of people wanted 12 whenever we were getting the sweaters out of the bin and everything. He was one of the first popular players here. And, we wouldn't want a Stanley Cup without him. That's for sure. I definitely think he laid the framework for hockey becoming more popular in the South in general, particularly in North Carolina. I just wish that we had built a better team around him, and his time with the Canes been more meaningful. Same for Cam Ward. I am happy, though, that ultimately he did get his number retired. I mean, we all knew that was inevitable, but seeing it actually happen was really cool. They did a great job with the ceremony. Tripp did a great job, I thought, being the master of ceremonies, like still being himself, but kind of reeling it in and making sure he didn't misspeak at one point, because when he went up to the podium, I'm like, this is either going to be magnificent or it's going to be a disaster. But Tripp did absolutely amazing. I was really happy with everything up until overtime, pretty much.
Yeah. That the game's a whole different thing.
Yeah,
we haven't really talked about the game, but we'll get into some of the things that kind of took place during that game that have really showed their face as of late, as far as team play goes. Before we continue here, let's get to some comments. BTS, not the band's with us, says yellow. What's up, dude? Pops says, hey guys, driving back home from Florida. Be careful. At least there's no snow.
It's snowing here again now. It wasn't even supposed to.
You're so lucky.
BTS says hated his time with the Wild. Yeah, he's talking about Eric Staal. Yeah, I hated his time with the Wild, with the Canadians, with the Panthers.
Everybody.
The Sabres was the worst one, though.
Let's see. It was the Rangers, the Sabres, the Wild, the Canadians.
I think it was the Rangers, the Wild, the Sabres, then
the
Canadians, and then the Panthers.
Yeah, and
seeing him in a Sabre sweater was gross.
Yeah, and he went to the Cup final with the Canadians and the Panthers.
Yes. Yep. Very easily could have had 3.
Yeah, could have. Yeah. BTS says he had steak too with mashed potatoes, a real country meal.
Yes, it is.
You can't go wrong with it. Just carbs and protein.
Whenever I eat steak, I got to have a baked potato. Can't mash it.
I love baked potatoes.
True. You got to have.
We had roasted ones today, but I love baked potatoes too. There's not a potato I've met that I won't eat.
Oh, Brandon. He says, BTS says, I'll be at the game too. Hope you have fun and happy birthday. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Megan is with us. She says, hello. Very excited to be headed to my first Canes home game with my dad and aunt. She's a Vegas Golden Knights fan.
Oh, all right, go ahead.
Can't wait to watch the Canes play at home in person. Yeah, it's wow, first Canes home game. Yeah. So you actually get a goal horn when they score instead of silence at the away arena. So yeah, you're in for a treat. If you happen to forget your aunt at the house, nobody be mad.
LTIR.
Just kidding. Hope you guys have a good time, and hope you get to see a Canes win. And I think you will. All right. So moving on here, we've got some things to get to tonight. We're going to talk about the team in general, and kind of this murky whatever it is that they're stuck in. We'll talk about some things I want to talk about as far as like associated with some Twitter posts that I've had out there, and some thoughts that I have surrounding that. Let you guys chime in on that too. Then we got some midseason grades we'll go through, and then we'll take a look at the standings and the upcoming schedule, and we'll get out of here. I'm out at 8:30 regardless. I'm going to be popping onto a Chicago Blackhawks podcast after this.
Oh,
since we play them Monday. When that episode releases over there, I'll share it on Twitter if anybody wants to check that out. But all right, let's get going here. Let's start with the team, guys. We're stuck in this 500 hockey rut. We're having a very hard time stringing together wins. Can't seem to get any more than 2 wins in a row. Usually it's win 1, lose 1, win 1, lose 1, or lose 2, so on and so forth. And I just feel like, last night against Buffalo, we just hit rock bottom. It was like gross. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I talked about this in the beginning, but we were very spoiled to start the year in the first 2 months. I mean, Shane Gostisbehere came out of nowhere with 4 goals, and we look like geniuses, and we still do, because Gostisbehere for that kind of deal is crazy. Roslovic was on a heater. Natchez was on a heater. Everybody was playing extremely well. We were at the top of our division. And then we got hit with a reality check to where we know that this team is not a Stanley Cup contender. And it's going to take a miracle for them to even get to the Stanley Cup, which I'm going to say is probably not going to happen this year. So yeah, it's just it's a reality check, and losing to the Sabres is definitely rock bottom. They're one of the worst teams in the league. Our goaltending has struggled. Our stars have disappeared. Our defense is not the way it was. So it's just a domino effect, and I think everybody's like we are, or not how we are. There's a little bit of panic in the air, because we've been so spoiled over the 6 years too.
So going back to my infamous post from the 28th of December, I did not expect this team to be a contender this year. I really didn't.
Nobody did.
What I was hoping for was something along the lines of the 2018-2019 team. And I don't feel like we're even getting that right now. That team, it seemed like every single game they were in it, they were outworking their opponents, even if not winning. They were playing with a sense of urgency. They were playing with pace. I haven't seen that lately out of this current team. Now, we still have some of the same reoccurring issues as far as the problems in the offensive zone and generating offense off the rush and having good entries and all that type of stuff. We're still having some issues like that. And that's what I'm worried about, that those issues never got better, and now it's starting to create problems in other parts of the ice. And that's where we're at now. We were scoring at above a 4 goal per game pace throughout October and part of November. I knew that was not sustainable. I knew that Roslovic was not going to keep scoring at the rate he was. I did not expect the fall off from Natchez that we've had. That's a little weird to me, how quick he fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
So while this isn't a contender, if we do want to bring big name UFAs in here, and especially if we want to do it at a discount, we got to give them a reason. It's like we have to like at least try to make a decent second round appearance with this team, which it's totally capable of doing that. Now, there's a lot of time between now and March, like as far as what we're going to do with the deadline and everything. But I think that there's plenty of blame to go around. There's a little bit of blame to be put on the coaching. There's a little bit of blame to be put on the front office, roster construction. There's no single point of failure right now, though, goaltending included.
What frustrates me the most is we've seen that this team has the ability to be, great. I mean, yeah, great. I don't want to use the word elite, but really freaking good. I mean, going 5-1 on that West Coast road trip was, or West Coast? Yeah, West Coast road trip
State fair or whatever.
Yeah, the State Fair road trip, whatever you call it, was amazing. And the team was scoring and goaltending was solid and everything was clicking. And then it fell off a cliff. And I don't know why. I can't figure it out. And what I can tell, if I look at that, yes, we struggled. Remember that week right after, Freddie went out, then Kochetkov went out. And next thing you know, we had the Stars, the Rangers, and then a back-to-back against the Florida Panthers. That was the turn. That week right there was a turning point. We beat the Stars, we beat the Rangers, and then we lost back-to-back to Florida. It took a nosedive, and it hasn't been the same since. That was, I believe that was either the week. Was that the week after Thanksgiving or before Thanksgiving? Or maybe it was
the weekend right after Thanksgiving, the Florida back-to-back. Yes. It was right after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and the Rangers game, I believe, was like maybe the day before Thanksgiving.
I think that was the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. The Rangers game was. I remember specifically because I went to one of my favorite taco places that day because it was Tuesday and they were cheap.
Fair. And I feel like that was the turning point. I feel like everything started to fall off at that point. That's around the time that his scoring dried up. Goss's Bear, I don't know. And then we started seeing some injuries. We saw the Jack Drury injury and Seth Jarvis went out for a while. And then Tyson Jost and, Freddie had been out and Goss Despair. So, the little bit of adversity, but they just didn't I don't feel like the team handled it like they should have appropriately. In my opinion, and a lot of people disagree with this, but a lot of people do agree with this. I think goaltending is affecting the whole team. I think that is your starting point. I believe that, if your goaltender is giving up, a soft goal or two every single game, and we saw this at the beginning of last season when we had the rough start, when goaltending was trash. The team cannot play loose in front of the goaltender when they're constantly trying to ensure that they are compensating for their goaltender. And I think that's your difference. The beginning of the year, goaltender was solid. Freddie was playing well. After Freddie went out, Kochetkov carried the team and the team was scoring. But as soon as goaltending went south, so did the team. And I truly believe that it's deflating as a skater. You are out there grinding night in, night out, playing your absolute hardest just to see some trash puck go through the goaltender that has no business going in the back of the net. I would be deflated. And they're not going to come out and say this to the media. They're not going to come out and say this publicly, but they might not even talk about it amongst themselves in the room, but in their mind, that is what's going on. And I think that has something to do with it. Freddie went out. They were fine with Kochetkov. Then Kochetkov went out. Panic started to set in the room. I believe that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Anybody?
Can't argue with that.
I'm going to let the goalie expert talk first.
About what? Oh, about how Kochetkov's playing?
Yeah, because you identify stuff with goalies that I can't because you at least play ball hockey goalie. I've never even done that.
Look, if you look at the statistics, and people have brought this up everywhere, Kochetkov is one of the top 4 goalies in the entire league at high danger, like saving high danger chances. He's in the bottom, like 4 in the league at just, I guess, non-high danger chances. So, like, what does that tell you? What kind of story does that tell you? And what it tells me is, I think it's a technique issue. Like, I don't think I don't know if it's his technique or his focus or I don't know what it is, but for you to be in the top of the league in high danger save percentage and in the bottom of the league in non-high danger save percentage, that's just wild to me, man. Like, what is it? AB, what is your thought?
I think it's one of those things where he just is like, can't sit still. And I think that's what's killing him, to where like he just wants to move. And in those high danger chances, he can move and stop those shots. But when he's supposed to square up against the shooter, he doesn't know what to do. And that's where you see the soft goals come in below the blocker, below the glove, or beneath the 5-hole, or just the angle is just terrible that he's trying to get to. I mean, he is the definition, in my opinion, of a spaz. Like, he will frantically drop his stick, poke check, like do all of this like crazy stuff. But when it's time to make a simple save, just put your glove up, blocker here, just drop down nice and slow, it just goes right past you. And that's not going to win you games. And if you're not calm and collected in those situations, then you're not going to be a top goalie in the NHL, because you need to learn how to play aggressive and be calm and cool in those regular positions and in the high danger positions. And I just don't think he knows yet how to be a steady goalie.
It's like, I don't need him to be the best. I just need him to not let in trash. Like,
that's what I'm talking about. He needs to be slow and steady. He freaks out. He's a spaz.
Just be normal. Like, be normal. Like, just be normal. Stop the shit you're supposed to stop. Like, there's no reason. That's
like that goal that Cutter Gauthier scored that should have never.
No reason.
That one definitely shouldn't have happened. And I know that we had that big discussion with that one guy who's like, okay, well, Slavin did it. I'm like, bro, there's a lot of people you can criticize on this team. Jacob Slavin is not one of them. No. Like, if it wasn't for him, we'd be way worse off.
Pucks are going to make their way to the net. Like, no matter how good your defense is, no matter how good your team defense is, pucks are going to find their way to the net. And we are the one of the best teams at shot suppression in the league. Look at the shots per game, right? But the problem is when the puck's getting, when the puck's there, he's not stopping it, and it's trash.
Spaz.
And then Dustin Tokarski, like, has exceeded my expectations. I mean, he's 4-2. He got exposed last night against Buffalo, but otherwise, I mean, he's been solid to the point where, it's to the point where I thought that we should run him out there a little bit more. And then he made me eat my words last night. But I mean,
what other option did we have, though? I mean, like, most teams are going to be like, hey, you played for them last year, play against them. Like, that's normal.
Yeah. Right. But I mean,
oh, go ahead.
It's irrelevant at this point, because we're going to have to keep rolling these guys out there. Freddie's right around the corner. He's skating. He's practicing with the main group. We'll probably see him. I don't know if they may just wait until after Four Nations to bring him out there just to make sure, because, I mean, at this point, you've already made it for 2.5 months without him. You might as well go another one.
Wouldn't hurt to give him an extra 2 weeks to make sure that he's good to go, like you're saying, and everything like that. Yeah. So it's the only thing I'm worried about with Freddie is how long do we have him when he does come back. Right. And I hate saying that, because it's just him getting hurt is an inevitability. It seems almost like. I hope that doesn't happen because we've seen what he can do when he's on, when he's healthy. Yeah. He's absolutely lights out. 22-23, he was a big part of us getting as far as we did that season. Yep. So that's what I'm hopeful for, is that he just stays healthy, because he does not make the team worse by coming back.
And it's obvious at this point that the team's not going to trade for a goaltender. We're not going to bring one in. It's just not going to happen. If Freddie comes back and he goes out injured again, then guess what? It's going to be Chekhov and Tokarski. Like, that's just the way it is. And this is a perfect segue into my next topic. And I'll stop and I'll let you guys, if you have any more thoughts on this before I move on. Nothing?
One quick thing in regards to Chekhov, and just as in general when it comes to not trading for goalies, but how goalies are judged. Goalies typically either get blamed for everything or they get blamed for nothing, and there's not much nuance to that discussion. They're either the hero or the heel every time. When there's times where we can try and offer nuance to that, i.e. the Tampa game, Chekhov played really well, the team in front of him let him down. And then it was the exact opposite against Anaheim. So, there's ways to look at that there, but the truth of the matter is our goalies have let in too many soft goals lately, and it's happened specifically bad the last 2 games.
Yeah. But I'll just say one more thing, and then we'll move on to the next topic. If you look at Dustin Tokarski, how he played, you see how much slower he is compared to Chekhov, and doesn't freak out in those situations. But when it's in the high danger chances, he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So you need to find that balance.
Absolutely. But if we could get back half of the soft goals that these goaltenders have let in, I really believe we'd be 6 or 7 points higher in the standings.
Yep, that's true.
If Pyotr Chekhov would try to quit poke checking every freaking skater on the shootout, we'd have beat Columbus.
Sticks on fire.
I don't know. If he'd have just been in proper position against Tampa, that Braden Point goal never goes in at the end and we go to overtime, get a point at least, maybe 2. But anyway, let's go through these comments quick before I move on here. Coconut Kyle's with us. He says Aho has been struggling. He's still above point per game.
Not really.
I believe, isn't he?
He was.
He is at Sebastian Aho is at 44 points in 45 games. So
point
just under, basically a point per game. I mean, I don't know. He says, spoiled, yes. Okay, he's talking about us as fans, but at the moment we are still a playoff team, and that is something we did not have at all during the Eric Staal, Cam Ward years, Stanley Cup notwithstanding. Yeah, but you know what? It's making the playoffs and winning around is no longer acceptable in Raleigh. It's literally, until we hit another string of years where we're not making the playoffs, it's Stanley Cup or bust at this point. Not saying that we're contenders this year, but that's just in the era that we are in. The Rod Brindamore era, we have exceeded just winning around. It's like, I mean, at this point, let's just win a freaking game in the conference final, right? Like, let's just get to that point. Anything less than that is unacceptable. I mean, at this point. So, but I mean, I don't know if I call it spoiled. I just call it. I mean, we're that's just reality. We got a New York Ranger. The NYR nobody says, "Man, y'all got it good. Us sleazy rags fans are suffering."
Thank God. Otherwise, we might be on the outside looking in. If they were, if they were as good as we thought they were going to be, we'd be sitting in wild card 1 right now at best.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm thankful. Rangers. I'm thankful. Coconut Kyle again says he's throwing a stick down every game. Damn near.
Yeah, that's getting old. That like it was
it was funny
for a little while, but
yeah.
Now it's like, dude, this is a chronic issue. You need to go see a doctor about it. Like, why is this happening so much?
Duct tape.
NYR nobody says, what do you need in your opinions to be serious cup contenders? I mean, I think it's a goalie,
2C.
Yeah, second line center and another high-end scoring winger. I mean, if Marty Necas is going to disappear, then we need somebody that can score. So, yeah, we need a second line center that's not named Jesperi Kotkaniemi or Jack Drury. So I think a defense is solid. Defense is as constructed, fine.
It's just two
above
key
average.
parts that are
Goaltending, second line center, that somebody that can play, or even if you bring in a center that you could play even a 1C and you could make Aho your second line center, like
that's
whatever.
my dream.
Yeah,
is for that
that would be great.
Perfect.
But there's only about 10 people on the list, or I'll say 10 to 15 players on the list of centers that would be better than Aho, and none of them are available.
Get them. Absolutely,
none of them are ever leaving where they're at.
Right, I agree. But yeah, I think that's what we're missing. I think our bottom six is solid.
So they're scoring.
Coconut Kyle. Besides the obvious goalie, it's hard to pin down exactly what else. Oh, that was a response. Clean mixes. Look at the GD legend in the middle, AB. He must be talking about you, AB.
Yes.
Gibson not on the table.
Too hurt. Injury prone.
Cap hits too big for one thing. They'd have to retain it.
It feels like 5 years ago I'd be on board.
If we were gonna trade for a goalie, and no matter what the name, we'd already done it.
Yeah, that's the most rational thing about it is like if we were going to do it, we would have done it by now. But with Freddie getting this close to being back, it's like, okay, we trade for a goalie. Freddie's back. Now what? Now we have three of them.
So I'm going to let this be a segue into my next topic here. But, we were talking about how, we weren't going to, basically if we were going to trade for a goaltender, we would already done it. We're going to wait for Freddie to come back and roll, try to hopefully roll with Freddie and Kochetkov. To me, the fact that the team did not go out and get a goaltender and basically rolled the dice on Kochetkov carrying us through until Freddie's back is indicative of the fact that the team, or that the management, the front office, understands that this is just not our year.
Mm-hmm.
We are not cup contenders. Now, what I'm about to say is my opinion and my opinion only. You may agree, you may disagree, and that's for you two or anybody out there that happens to be listening. And I honestly believe what I'm about to say. Now, we just talked about how the ceiling for this team is not just making the playoffs, or when I say ceiling, I mean expectation. Success is not defined by making the playoffs like it was in 2018. Success is not defined by winning a round. Success is not defined by winning 2 rounds. Success is defined in this current state of things as winning the Stanley Cup. We've been close. Well, we thought we've been close. But I think that if the front office understands that, which I think they do because they didn't go get a goalie, then I think you may need to just position yourself for the offseason now. If you're not going to go bring in a goalie when you needed one, and I'm not talking about the trade deadline, it's too late at that point. So if you're not going to go get a goalie, then just go ahead. We know what's coming. We know we've got all this greater than $30 million to spend in the offseason on once. You've got a lot of replacements already in your system. We know that, the Burns contract, the Orlov contract is coming off. We've got 2 guys coming in that can play there, possibly, in Scott Morrow and Alexander Nikishin. So you don't have to spend a lot of money there yet, at least next season. And then you've got a lot of 1-year deals. You got the Roslovic deal that's coming off. That's $2.8 million. You've got Jesper Foss falling off the books. That's another, I believe, 2.4. As of right now, until Eric Robinson's extended, I mean, he's less than $1 million, but I believe he'll be extended. Why not go ahead and just kind of try to hoard some assets? Dmitry Orlov is not coming back to this team. It just doesn't make any sense. The fact that they signed him to a 2-year deal 2 years ago that lined up with the arrival of Nikishin tells me that they don't plan on him coming back. And I don't see where he would fit. I mean, on the left side, you've got Jacob Slavin and Shane Gossesbear outside of his position. He's not going to unseat either of those. I mean, they could play his offside, maybe, but I just don't see it in the cards. So I believe if you're not in a position where you think that you can make a run and win the Stanley Cup, then go ahead and trade him. Let him go and get something for him. Somebody reported, it might have been Sarah Valley, that the asking price right now for a top 4 defenseman, in a trade starts at a first-round pick. I mean, when Orlov got traded from the Capitals to the Bruins, I believe there was a first. I believe there was a first-round pick involved in that trade. He's had a solid year. Do it. And I would argue to go if you don't want to trade or if you don't want to re-sign Jack Roslovic. I mean, he's sitting on 15 goals right now. I'm sorry, 17 goals right now. You could get a hefty return back for him too. Now, if you want to try to re-sign him, then okay. But I mean, I'm all about just saying, hey, let's just try to get to this offseason with as much. If we can get another first-round pick for Orlov that we could use maybe to flip in another trade in the offseason or something, go for it. And that's where I'm coming from with that. I don't care that that St. Louis was last in the league in 2018 and came all the way back to win the Stanley Cup. I don't care that Florida 2 years ago barely made the playoffs and then made a run to the Stanley Cup final. I don't care. This roster is not those rosters. First of all, St. Louis had a freaking elite goaltender that year in Jordan Bennington that went on a heck of a run.
Mm-hmm.
You think Kochekov's going to do that? I don't think so.
Probably not, but no one expected Bennington to either.
Well, that's true, but
Bennington doesn't drop his stick every shift, though.
But that was a heck of a roster. Look at who played there.
O'Reilly, Petrangelo, God. Bennington when he was on a heater.
You just go through it. There was
yeah.
That was a heck of a roster, and I just don't know. I can't compare those two. And really that Florida team. That was Matthew Tkachuk's first year. I mean, there was some freaking studs on that team, and they were big and fast, and they just had to learn to play together, and it took them a long time. But once they clicked, that was it. That ain't us.
Nope.
I'm sorry, it's just not. So that's my thought. That's where I'm coming from on that Twitter post that everybody came at me for. Whatever. That's what I believe, and I really believe that. Do I think management will do it? No. But I would. Your guys' thoughts?
I mean, I'll just add on to that real quick. I think that I've heard reports of that we're now targeting a forward. I don't know if that could be a big name. Most likely not. Maybe that's something you can use for you can get rid of some prospects for maybe a big name, maybe, because we have a ton of prospects. I've seen Himaswamy be talked about as a trade piece. But like you said, Griff, I just don't see this as a run right now because we don't have the pieces. I mean, we have had really good chances to make it to the finish line, and we haven't converted. We've had rosters. We've had really good opportunities, but we just can't get it done. Like you said about Florida, Reinhart went on a heater. I don't know how many goals he scored that year. Over 40. Did you have Matthew?
No, I think he was a 50 that year.
Yeah, I think it was 50. It may have been 6. No, it was 50.
I think it was 50 that Reinhart had, if I remember correctly.
I mean, that whole roster, top to bottom, had every single thing that you need in a Stanley Cup championship team. Right now, you need to go out and be smart and look towards the future because there's a lot to look forward to. And the season's not over yet. Okay? Like, it's not over, like we're doomed.
No, I'm not saying we are.
But no. I know that, but I'm just saying, like, we have to think bigger picture and not just let's go ahead and trade these people and get big name and then only make it to the second round. And that's it. And then we're screwed next year.
And then if we do want to go get a big name, like I know a lot of people are talking about Rantanen, he's not leaving Colorado.
I don't know.
I think a lot of that is saber rattling because his agent put something out in the media about it's not moving forward to maybe try and get stuff moving on and everything like that. If we do go get someone like Rantanen, like it needs to be a sign and trade. And some of the theoretical things that people have said that they would give up from our end are laughable. It wouldn't even start a discussion. At a minimum, you're looking at roster player, first round pick, high end prospect, not named Nikishin, just to get that conversation actually really started, in my opinion. Now, as far as who we could realistically get in the offs here, okay, I'll go over this real quick, and this is something I'm going to talk about on my show whenever I get to have one in more detail. My 2 dream trade targets right now. These will never happen. Tage Thompson and Dylan Larkin. That's the 2 guys I would love to have more than anybody. Neither one of them are moving. Alex Tuck, honorable mention there, because I think that he would fit Brendan Moore's style incredibly well. We saw that last night. He would add some offense. He's really good at transition denial. He's got a ton of speed. He would bring some physicality to the team. Realistic targets, Dylan Cousins, I think you could totally get that done. I think you could get him. Then you have your right-handed second line center. AB, here's where you and I are probably going to, one day we're going to fight over this, like physically. I would keep Jesperi Kotkaniemi to be the third line center because what he's getting paid right now is going to be the going rate for a 3C anyway, and Jordan Stahl's not going to play forever. Plus, KK looked good playing with Martinook and Robinson and Martinook and Carrier. They complemented his style a lot more. 3Cs don't grow on trees. We might as well keep him. And then beyond that, if we're looking at a really realistic target that would just bridge the gap until Felix Unger-Sorm is ready, that's where I would say look at someone like Ryan O'Reilly, Selke winner, right-handed center, very experienced, wouldn't interfere with Felix Unger-Sorm making the jump if he's being groomed to be the future second-line center. And if we do get a first-round pick for anybody that we would trade, such as Orlov, please draft a center. When was the last time we drafted a center?
Suzuki.
Yeah, draft a center.
Coconut Kyle says, ultimately, what do you want in the offseason if we did any of that? At me. I want a goaltender. I want a number 1 goalie. Vejmelka would be a good start. He's going to be a free agent. Sign him. Bring him in. Him and Kochetkov would be a good tandem, I think. I want a second-line center. Word on the street is that Sam Bennett may be available in free agency. Throw in the bank. That would help us. I mean, he's a good center. He's defensively responsible. He can score. We've seen that. And
he's
exactly. He's freaking physical and he's tough. And that would solve a lot of our problems right there. That's an idea. If Mikko Rantanen happens to make it to free agency, or we can, make a trade before the off season or whatever, or maybe, get his rights or something in the off. I don't know. If he makes it and you don't go get him with all the money that we have, you failed. We've got, I think we may have the most cap space coming open this offseason of anybody in the NHL.
I'm pretty sure
that's a contender.
I'm pretty sure that's accurate.
Chicago.
No, we have more than Chicago.
What about
I really believe that we are like the top. So I mean, there's no
we're probably like top 5.
Definitely top 5. But I mean, it's it's there's a lot to offer as far as like, hey, winning. We can like come here, we'll pay you what you want, and we can win because look at our roster. We can make it better, and we got a chance to add to the core, and that's what we need to do. So I think that's where you start. I think you need a second line center. You need a goaltender. Those are musts. Have to happen. Cannot start next season without them.
So Carolina is 10th in cap space
right
off
now
season or right now
for the off season.
That can't be right.
That can't be right.
Columbus has 35. San Jose has 35.
Projected.
Calgary would have 32. This is if nobody was re-signed.
Okay. Well,
what a thing. And Winnipeg is 36 million, but they're obviously going to re-sign some of their players.
Well, anyway, still a lot of money, but the only, other than Winnipeg, we've got the fact that we are a contender.
Dallas has 27.
Okay, well, great, but I'm just saying, I think that the goaltending position, the second line center are musts, non-negotiable, has to happen. And then with whatever else you have left after you sign whoever it is you need to sign or extend or whatever, if you've got the money, then you need to go get a high-end scoring winger. So that's what I think. I don't have a lot of time before I have to bounce out of here, so we can get into these player grades. And we will read down through them, and let's get through all the grades, and then we can talk like we did last time, then talk about a few of them that we really disagree on. So we're going to start with the forwards, and we'll start with Jordan Staal. I gave Jordan an A.
A minus.
Oh, I got to pull this back up. There we go. I gave him an A as well.
So, yeah, pretty the same thing pretty much across the board. I mean, we know what he is. He's been, especially, at his age, the hat trick the other night was great. Next is Jordan Martinook. Gave him a B+.
Gave him a B.
I also gave him a B.
In agreement there. Eric Robinson, I gave him a B.
A minus.
A.
And remember, this is the whole first half of the whole body of work for the first half of the season. I think he's cooled off as of late. William Carrier, B for me.
B.
B.
Next is Jack Drury. I gave him a C-.
I gave him a B-.
I gave him a B.
We'll come back and talk about Jack. KK, Jesperi Kotkaniemi. I gave him a D.
I gave him a D.
I gave him a B-. Like I said, AB, if you and I ever have a physical altercation, it's going to be over him.
Oh, wow. A B-.
Yep.
I had C originally, and then I saw Griff's rating, and I was like, okay, I don't have to be.
You can't be higher than me. Oh, man. Jeez. Brandon's like that professor in college that just hands out grades.
Give him a B.
Probably, yeah.
Participation. All right, next is Andrei Svechnikov. I gave him a C.
I gave him a B.
I gave him a B-.
He needs to score more for me. Hopefully that trend is starting. Next is Martin Necas. I gave him a B-.
I gave him a C-.
I gave him a C.
Jeez. All right, Juha Jaska. I gave him a B.
I gave him a B.
I gave him an A.
Next is Seth Jarvis, C+.
I gave him a B.
I gave him a B-.
Sebastian Aho, also gave him a C+.
I gave him a B+.
B-.
Jack Roslovic, I gave him a C+.
I gave him a B-.
I gave him a C.
That whole top line needs to do better.
Yep.
In my opinion. Shane Gostisbehere, now we're moving on to the defense. Shane Gostisbehere, I gave him a B.
I gave him a B-.
I also gave him a B.
Sean Walker, I gave an A.
I gave him an A as well.
I also gave him an A.
Hey, we agree. Most of these we did. Most of the defensemen we agreed on.
Yeah.
Jacob Slavin. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up a little bit because I got to bounce in 3 minutes. But Jacob Slavin, we all three gave him Bs. Brent Burns, C. all of us except for Brandon, which is C-. Jalen Chatfield, all B-. Dmitry Orlov, B's from me and AB, and a B- from Brandon. Goaltenders, and we'll read these off individually. Pyotr Kochetkov, I gave him a C.
I gave him a B-.
I gave him a C+.
Y'all like some of them people coming at me talking about it's the defense's fault. Jacob Slavin, did you see how he played that?
That made me mad. I was like, bro.
Brandon texted something the other day. He was like, hold on, I'll be right on that Twitter.
Yeah, I bookmarked that. Don't worry, he's going to get his.
Yeah, that's what it was.
He's in the pack watch folder. Don't worry.
The team didn't score 16 goals. How can you blame the goalie? All right. Dustin Tokarski, I gave him a B.
I think all of us gave him a B.
All three of us gave him B's.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are the mid-season grades. It'd be interesting to compare them to the quarter season. But I'm going to leave you guys to talk about this if you want to and go as long as you want. But I've got to dip out because I've got another thing to get to tonight. So, AB, do you have access to the controls?
I don't know.
AB?
I see the top button I see it in the top right.
Can you end the stream, though?
Yeah, I can end it.
Okay. All right, then. Well, I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys to this to roll with as long as you want. But yeah, good talk. I appreciate it as always, guys. It was fun.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All right, so I already know what we're going to talk about, AB. KK.
I can't wait to listen to it.
We're going to duke this out right now.
All right, fellas. I'll leave you to it. Good luck.
All right,
See you, buddy.
Don't hit him too hard. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, later. All right, you want to start?
Well, maybe if you leave me on the screen. Oh God, we're unsupervised. This is going to be bad. Should we go over to my show? I have a feeling here's going to be a lot of language.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the appropriate place.
This probably ain't the venue for it.
Talk about
Actually, I need to. I'm kind of tempted to just call Sam, because him and I we need to do a recap of the Florida trip since him and I were there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I just should just call him and put him on the spot here live on the air and make him come on and embarrass him.
Why?
Not just for fun, because he's Sam.
Oh yeah, that's true. So we'll revisit the KK talk for your show.
Because that's going to get a little heated. I already know that. That's like the only thing you and I disagree on.
All right. Well, Jack Drury, I mean, you gave him a B. I gave him a B-, but I mean, I only gave him a B- because he was hurt and he knows his role and he plays his role very well, but he's not a guy that I could give A effort. So that's why I did it. I don't know why Griff did a C-. Maybe it was from the injury or I don't really know.
I don't put all of it on Jack because Rod tried to employ him in a way that he shouldn't have been for a little bit when he had him with Natchez and Svechnikov or whatever it was. And I'm like, yeah, that ain't gonna work. Jack is a good defensive center. He's a 4C. He's good enough at it to be on the second power play unit. Okay, I'll give you an example of something though. Let's just say for whatever reason we bring Teuvo Teravainen back tomorrow. Jack's off the power play. He might be off the penalty kill too. It's just,
that's
and
true.
That's nothing against Jack. It's just we know what we're getting with him. He's a solid fourth line center, very defensively responsible. That's also why, actually, here's what I want to talk about.
Okay.
Let's just say I do want to acquire someone like Tage Thompson, Alex Tuck, or Dylan Cousins, of which two of those are untouchables. I guarantee you. Because Tuck and Thompson are
going anywhere.
They're not going anywhere. I would gladly overpay a little bit to get Tage Thompson. I would rather have Tage Thompson than Elias Pettersson, honestly, for a multitude of reasons. I don't think the Hurricanes should really even look at Elias Pettersson.
I'm sick and tired of a left-handed center. I want a righty.
Well, it's not even his handedness. This guy has had 100-point season and makes $11.6 million. I'm not willing to pay that to somebody year in and year out. Now, we also have an establishment that we need some more size and we need some more physicality.
Yep.
If I'm going to make that type, put some sort of you put a package together that could potentially get Elias Pettersson, which apparently Carolina did last season. They put together a package that was so good they considered actually trading him, and if he didn't come back to the negotiation table as far as signing goes. I would put a package like that together to try and get someone like Tage Thompson. No way it happens. That would be like us trading Aho. But if I'm going to target somebody, it's going to be him or Dylan Larkin as far as impossible, but I would try. Now, if you're looking at a realistic target, for example, Dylan Cousins, roster player, you're looking at 2 right there just to make the cap hit work with him anyway, because I think his cap hit is $7.1 million. I would trade Martin Necas, Jack Drury, and then as far as futures go, then you could maybe look at throwing in a pick or a prospect not named Nikishin. That's what I would do to try and get someone like him, because he's already on a contract. He's got term. I would go for someone like him. Dylan Larkin would be another guy I would love to have, but not happening. Ryan O'Reilly, I think, is the most realistic guy you could get.
Yeah.
And then the cool thing about it is if Felix Ungersorm does turn out to be that second-line center that it looks like they're grooming him to try and be, then Ryan O'Reilly's contract expires in 2 years. You've had enough time to develop Ungersorm, start getting him some NHL action, and then throw him in the second-line center spot. And then Ryan O'Reilly's off the books. If you've still got KK to play in the third-line center role, then the only thing you have to replace is your fourth-line center, and that's not the hardest thing to replace. We have an abundance of people who could fill that position right now. Suzuki, Yost. If you traded Drury, you have the means to replace him in-house.
Yeah, I remember last year we had made a trade offer for Buffalo that Necas was involved in, and he said no. So that immediately puts that off the table. Like, I mean, like a Tage Thompson trade is like impossible, but it's not impossible, if that makes sense. You just have to get rid of some people. I don't know how old Ryan O'Reilly is, but
I think he's 32.
He's been steady.
Yeah.
For Nashville.
And he'd fit opinion. Too. Yeah, I believe
he'd
so.
Fit.
He'd fit because
go ahead.
Because he's won. I don't think he has multiple Selkies. I'm pretty sure he only has one. I'd have to look. But either way, he's won a Selkie, right-handed center, has some size, even though he's not the most physical guy. Good in the corners, very, very finessed way of digging pucks out. And he brings some experience to the table to talk to you. You know, bringing someone like Ryan O'Reilly in might help someone like Jesperi Kotkaniemi take the next step. I think there's more similarities in their game than there are between Aho and Kotkaniemi, for example. Aho and Kotkaniemi are about as different as centers get. So that's
O'Reilly won the Conn Smythe, by the way, too.
Yeah, okay, there you go. That's another good reason to get him. So it's like he's got experience, he's got a cup, he's been a good fit on every team. Brendan Moore would absolutely love the way that he plays. So if we're going to adopt this whole, or not adopt, but we've already adopted it, but maintain this defense first, sometimes defense only style, that's a guy that I really think you need to give a look.
Yeah, that's true. What did you say his contract was again?
It's actually pretty good. Give me a second. I'm going to look it up.
I'm going to see how many. So he's a minus 12 this year.
Yeah, but he's playing with Brady Shea. That's not his fault.
He's got 26 points in 40 games.
No, I'm not mad about that.
Last year he had 69 points. So not bad. And he has 797. His career high was, I think, it was last year. That was his career high.
All right. So we have 40 games played, 13 goals, 13 assists for 26 points. So that's 6.5 points per game. Another good thing about Ryan O'Reilly, he doesn't take penalties either. He's got 11 on the year, 11 penalty minutes.
Speaking of, we'll always have a soft spot for former Avs like Ryan O'Reilly. I completely forgot he played for the Avalanche.
Yeah, I think that's who drafted him, right?
I think so.
No, they drafted him.
Yeah, they drafted him. He was there for 1, 2, 3,
Oh,
4,
I'm
5,
looking at
6
that.
seasons.
So his cap hit is 4.5 million. Like, we could make that work. Like,
Yeah, we could.
That's one guy that I would absolutely love to go get. And
You know
if
what
you
we
have to
can
move,
do?
what?
We can share a screen and make up mock trades.
Okay.
That
They got to
can
be better than some of the
interesting.
ones I've seen on X today. Some of the ones I've seen on X today have made me like, bro, what are you doing? Like, there was one, and Catherine, welcome to the show. There was one that we commented on that the Locked On Avalanche podcast, it wasn't their trade proposal, it was one they got from Sportskeeda, which is kind of a terrible website. And hold up, I'll pull this up because I was like, yo, okay. So this trade proposal was, and I quote, a mock trade could ultimately look something like this. Colorado Avalanche get forward Martin Necas, a 2025 second round pick, and a 2026 third round pick. The Carolina Hurricanes get Mikko Rantanen and Ivan or Nikita Shipachyov. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. I know who he is, but. And to which I replied, who TF wrote this? I'm a Canes fan and knows that Moose isn't going anywhere, but definitely not for a package like that. That would not even start a discussion. It would probably end discussions at that point. Don't ever send whoever came up with that to negotiate a ceasefire anywhere in the world. That was just bad. I'm sorry, but it's like, I know that just to get that conversation started, Necas, high-end prospect, probably Nadeau or Felix Unger-Soren, because Nikishin's not going anywhere. The whole world knows that. And first-round pick. Imminent first-round pick, as in probably in this upcoming draft.
Yeah, yeah. Trying like to find and see if I can tool with something here. Gosh, I wish the other one was still here. All right, let's see here. Can I make my own trade, or what? Why won't it let me do it? This would actually be good content. All right, let's do this. If my thing will load. What is this? Okay. All right. Got to get this going. Are there any new comments? That's the question.
Oh, I have to make a correction. I said that Ryan O'Reilly's a right-handed shot. He's actually a left.
Yeah, he's a lefty.
I don't know why there's certain guys that I'm just convinced in my mind that they're right-handed shots even when they're not.
Oh, they have this cool feature where you actually can manage your own roster.
What, on Puckpedia?
Yeah, look at this. That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, no, I play with that all the time. That's fun.
Play with it.
Family friendly, AB.
No, that's not what I meant. But
you don't want Kyle coming after you, do you?
All right. So it has it has everything. So here's the breakdown right here. I mean, you got 2 players that are over, when you have a couple that are over 7. All right, so you're the non-roster people. Nadeau obviously is going to be protected. All right, so let's say we go ahead and trade. All right, let's say Dallas. Not Dallas. The Predators. All right. Here we go. All right. So, I know Riley. He's got 3 years left. That is a -2 million. So, obviously, we're not going to send Necas over there because that would just be terrible. Because if we were to do that, that'd be terrible. Because now we barely have any. Well, we would barely have any cap, but they would get a solid player for cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So you said Jack Drury. That still has us as a -2 in cap space. So there's not really a lot of people you could trade for like Ryan O'Reilly unless you're giving up somebody that
Yeah,
big.
no, yeah, somebody has to come off the roster for this to work.
So you have, so let's just say Natchez. Maybe you could go ahead and grab a defenseman. Not a defenseman, sorry. Who are their? Who's their
Let's see
backup
what they got for
goalie?
forwards. Don't even scroll over Shea's name. That will make me mad.
All right, so Justin Barron, defenseman. David Enstrom. I mean, they have Forsberg.
Oh God, we'd have to. That would be a blockbuster if we got Forsberg.
We would
somehow,
have to
but
trade both Natchez and Svechnikov to get him.
Natchez and Svechnikov both would have to go, and I don't want to give up.
They
both
literally
of them.
have nobody.
Okay, how about this? We give them Jack Drury, and they retain 50%, and we throw a pick in.
Huh.
A high
All
pick.
right.
I'm talking, give him at least a second rounder. Actually, I'll tell you what. Give him a second rounder and give him that one that we got from Tampa.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
Yeah.
So here, can I tool with it?
You should be able to for the salary retention. Yeah, I've messed around with this before. I'm pretty sure you can.
Oh, here we go. Retain cap hit. So
go for 50%, the max. Barry Trotz would never do this, but it's fun to think about.
250. So if you're listening to this like on the podcast form, we're making a trade right now.
This is fun. We got to do this more.
So that leaves us as 1.3. And so the trade on the podcast version is Martin Natchez for a 2025 second round pick, a 2025 third round pick that belonged to Tampa.
Now we got to sweeten the pot
Ryan O'Reilly.
Now we got to sweeten the pot on
50% retained.
Yeah, so we should get some picks back from them to compensate because, like, right now this is a lopsided trade, but that would like get one started.
So let's see. Here. I'm gonna do this. Let's go to trade. Let's back out. Let's just say like one shot, just Dylan Larkin. If that were to ever happen,
God, I would be so happy. Oh my God, I would be so happy.
All right, so here's Dylan Larkin. All right, you're gonna do the same thing you did last time.
Now we got to do roster players. Natchez alone brings the cap hit down.
We got to go with Natchez. And how much would we be in debt? $1 million.
That's
so
not
then
much.
We would have to go Jack Drury, and then we'd still be negative.
Yeah, and they're not going to retain on a contract.
No, they're not going to retain salary because they're already taking on $7 million as is, almost $8 million.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
So you can't do a trade for Dylan Larkin for Martin Natchez, Jack Drury, a second round pick, and a third round pick, and they're not going to retain anything. So
okay, so that one doesn't work.
It wouldn't even matter.
All right, let's try Dylan Cousins.
Dylan Cousins, well, that wouldn't work realistically either.
You don't think so?
No, because Martin Natchez is not going to want to go to the Sabres.
Well, it's not about what he wants. He doesn't have a no trade clause or anything.
Did he have one last year?
No, the organization was just being cool with him about it.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. Dylan Cousins. All right. You're barely under. Barely.
You know what? If we wait a few weeks, we'll be able to make that trade because the daily cap hit will be lower.
That's true.
Yeah, because it's the daily hit that matters the most.
All right, and then let's see another one here. I'm wondering if we go back to that Nashville trade.
The one for O'Reilly?
The one for O'Reilly, I'm not putting in Drew. Well, I could put in Drury and then get another forward. Oh, not Stamkos. Go away.
No.
Let's think of something here. What about this guy?
No.
No, big no on Brady Shea. All right, I agree.
Hey, hit that last comment there real quick.
Which one?
So Catherine just said she just said two of them actually. The one above that, she said Trotz is willing to deal, already made 2 deals in division with the Avs.
That's
okay,
true,
so that's a good
but
sign.
I just don't know who you would go and get that's good. Because Bo Horvat's not going anywhere, and I don't want that cap.
No.
So, and then I mentioned trading for Larkin too with the right winger floundering. He won't ever see with the Red Wings. Why did I read right winger? Whoops. Stays in Detroit. Yeah, that's true. All right. You know what? Since she brought that into fruition for the Islanders, let's go ahead and do this. Wait, isn't Barry Trotz the GM for the
Predators?
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right, Islanders. All right, let's look here. No on Barzell.
Yeah, no way we'd get him.
Anthony Duclair is fast, but
yeah, but like we need someone who's gonna like play making like we got enough grinders, we got enough speed players, we've got enough depth. Like I want someone to where definitively the bottom 6 is built around Kotkaniemi, Robinson, Martinook, etc.
All right, let's maybe try something like this then.
See, I don't even know who we would get from them since they already extended Vetrano. That's the only guy I would look at from there.
Oh, when did they extend him?
Oh, that's only been a few weeks. I actually missed it the first couple of days.
So you could Ryan Strome's not a bad player.
No.
You wouldn't?
Nah.
I don't.
Nah, I don't.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Not Trevor Zegras. He can go away.
If we were going to trade for Zegras, we might as well put Natchez at center.
I would say Killorn, but he's old and that money is terrible.
5 years ago, I would have done that.
Oh, 100%. All right, so no on Anaheim. I'm trying to think of people who have some centers that maybe don't want to be there anymore.
That's the problem. That's why I named the ones that I did. That's the only ones I can think of.
I mean, the Penguins need some help with something. I mean, maybe they have.
But I don't want Malkin.
No, I don't want Malkin either. I'm just trying to see who else they have.
Crosby, Malkin,
not Eric Carlson. God, we dodged a bullet there. That was.
I don't think we were ever actually
terrible.
in on him.
Yes, he pulled the RV. Go away.
I don't think we were ever actually in on Carlson. I think what they did with that was they were just driving up the market for everybody else.
Ricard Raquel.
Okay, that one might be worth looking at.
But we not for Natchez.
No, God, no.
You would have to put in some picks.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you throw in a second and a first and a third, and Ricard Raquel for Marty Natchez, Jack Drury, a second and a third. I would actually move this and bring that as a second. Well, actually, I don't see them trading their first pick. Well, actually, yeah, if they're going to get Natchez first pick. So a second, and then we gave him a third, and we're giving him Drury. So let's just say 2027, like 7th round pick. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So you have Ricard Raquel, a first round pick this year, a second round pick next year, and then in 2027, the 7th. And then we trade Natchez and Drury for a second and a third this year.
I could see that.
That's not a bad trade.
Nah, it would never happen in real life, but it's like the foundation of one.
Yeah, I mean, but that's not a bad trade. Are there any new comments? Oh, here's one.
Oh, yeah. Kadri? Okay, yeah, we could try and make that one work.
All right, let's do so yeah, if you're listening to this on the podcast, we're just going through trades that we would do. So I'll announce them while we're doing it.
Yeah, it's all for fun, hypothetical stuff.
All right. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to end it, and then we can go back on here and do it again.
Okay, yeah, just send me another invite. But do you want to do the readout thing?
Yeah, I'll do it. So that was session 68 of Caniac Sessions. Follow us on YouTube, subscribe, like, comment. You can do the same for Brandyn at The Warning Take on YouTube. You can follow him on X at The Warning Take, and to keep up with Caniac Sessions on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, you can follow us at Caniac Sessions. And if you want to keep up with me personally, you can follow me on X at AB Caniac Session. We'll be back in a little bit for the live stream. We'll do another thing. So thank you so much for watching and listening to session 68, and we will see you in session 69.
Bye.